fans, it's your favorite Phoenix realtor, Andrew Starkman here with Living in Phoenix. And today I wanted to make this video to go over all of the steps in the home buying process. I get questions all the time from first-time buyers, from friends, from family. What's the first step here? How do I even begin in this home buying process? And what's the second step? And what do I do now that I've completed this step? And I usually bring to my buyer meetings this notebook that I have all of the steps outlined here and kind of broken into two sections. And this has been really helpful for a lot of my first-time buyers. And so I want to go over this list with you on this video and go through each step in the process from finding your agent all the way through closing and moving into your new home. So the first step in this process is to find that real estate agent. Everybody or most people have a friend or a family member or their mom's college roommate's sister's best friend that is a realtor. And I always encourage you to take those interviews. People that are friendly with you or have known you for a long time will generally have your best interests at heart. So take those interviews, but also do some research on your own. Find some people that you'd like to interview, somebody that you might get along with or have a similar personality as, somebody that will have your back and negotiate, and somebody that can understand the needs of your situation. While it's great to use those friends and family connections, they don't always mesh as well as you could have with somebody that you might have interviewed on your own. So take the time to really interview a few people and find the person that you know will have your best interests at heart. Once you have found that person, the first real step is to get yourself pre-qualified. Now that means you go to a mortgage lender. Your agent will probably have multiple connections, or you might know somebody, but you don't even have to go into the office with them. You can send them an email with all the documents and they'll get you this pre-qualification form that you submit to the seller along with your contract or your offer. And it really does two things. One, it lets you know as a buyer how much you can actually afford, what your monthly payments will be, what your down payment needs to be, and how high you can go in securing this loan for a potential home. And secondly, it lets the seller know that A, you're serious, and B, you can actually afford this home and this loan. The lender has given you this pre-qual form which says, yes, they will be able to close on a loan in this amount. So now that you've got your agent and you're pre-qualified, you are ready to hit the ground running. Get on Zillow, get on realtor.com, whatever website you like to search on, and make sure your realtor is, of course, sending you listings from the MLS, and start touring places. Find a list of 7 to 15 places that you like, hit the ground running, and hopefully you find that first house on that first day and that's it. But this could be a process that takes who knows how long until you find the one. So that's why you need that pre-qual. It's good for up to 90 days. You can get the search started right away as a serious buyer, and then take the time to find the right house for you. Now, once you've found the home that you want to make the offer on, that's exactly what you'll do. You'll sit with your agent and you'll talk about how much they think the house is actually worth, what you think the house is worth. You'll run all the comps with them. You'll talk about the neighborhood, market values, and really get a good sense for if the house is overpriced, if the house is undervalued, and how you want to navigate those waters and what you want to come in at with your offer amount. So the agent will write up the offer for you on their contract forms. They'll submit that pre-qual with the offer that will show that you can afford this amount, and submit all that to the other side, and this will open up now negotiations, which is the next step. So you've got your agent, your pre-qual, you've made your offer, and now you're in negotiations. The seller side will have the opportunity to counter your offer, to reject your offer, or to accept your offer outright. And of course, you're hoping for acceptance, but most of the time you're going to get into counters. And this could lead to lots of creative negotiating. You can negotiate the price, you can negotiate closing cost assistance, you can negotiate so many different ways to come to an understanding with the buyer and the seller on both sides. So this is why I say find an agent that's going to negotiate for you, going to have your back, that knows the different ways to negotiate and what's on the table and who they're negotiating with. Negotiations differ from a standard resale to a new home construction where you're negotiating with the developer or the builder themselves. So somebody that's well-rounded in the industry and knows how to talk to these different kinds of sellers. So we've got our agent, we've got our pre-qual, we've made an offer, we've negotiated, and now we've come to some type of agreement with the other side, and they've accepted our contract, and all the documents are signed, and we are officially under contract. Now this is where the word that I get the most questions about comes into play. We are in escrow. What is escrow? The strangest word in all of real estate land. So escrow begins. Escrow is really a period of time more than a tangible thing. You're going to have a lot of things that take place during this period of escrow, and it really begins as soon as you put that earnest money in the escrow account. So the earnest money is a portion of the down payment. If you're putting 5% down on the house, it'll be a portion of that 5%. Usually I go with 1% of the total sales price. So, on a $100,000 home, you're going to put $1,000 down for the earnest deposit. Something that is a little easier to swallow because that earnest money is refundable if you need to back out of the deal, but also if you reach a certain step in the process, that money no longer is refundable, and if you have to leave, that money gets paid to the seller. So something that's a little easier to swallow than your full down payment. So your earnest money is now in the escrow account, and escrow is open. There are kind of 3 tiers of items that need to happen, and usually you won't even know that they're happening or have any involvement in the process unless something is really wrong and the title company needs to make you aware or have you take care of something. So the 3 tiers are kind of the house itself, the loan itself, and then the home ownership, the title. So in this escrow period, you'll have your home inspection. You're going to have your inspector come out, do a top to bottom inspection on the property and provide you with a report. And now you're going to open up negotiations again with the seller on who's going to repair what needs to be repaired before you move into the home. Ideally, it'll be nothing, but 9 times out of 10, you're going to find something that is in disrepair and needs to be replaced. So that's the first column with the home itself. You're going to go back and forth with the seller to negotiate these repairs if you need any repairs. So that second tier now is the loan itself. We've covered the home itself with the inspection and now the loan itself. Your mortgage lender is they've already given you the pre-qualification. So they've done a soft check on your credit. They know you can close on this loan, but now they're going to actually start to order that loan. And one of the key aspects of this loan is having the appraisal done on the home. So the lender will order that appraisal, and if it does appraise, you'll move forward with the process and the loan will be secured by the lender. And now the third section in this escrow umbrella is the title section. This is where all of the legal and ownership aspects come into play. Your title company will do a title search. They'll pull any liens or encumbrances on the property, which means potentially if they have a mechanic's lien from work that they've done on the property. Maybe they didn't pay their contractor and there's a lien out on the property for those funds. All of this history will be dug up by the title company and presented to you. Hopefully there'll be nothing. And then if there is something, you kind of open negotiations again with the other side to remove these encumbrances, get these liens taken care of, who will pay what, etc. So this is why I say this top section here is kind of the more fun section, because you're getting pre-approved, you're touring homes, you're looking at photos and videos and actually stepping into multiple homes. And now we're in that escrow period where it can get a little tricky and you're doing inspections and appraisals and things can come up that, were behind the walls and you couldn't really feel or see while you were in the home. And so it is a fun part, but it is a little bit more tricky and a little tougher to navigate as far as knowing some of the terms and what your rights and liabilities are as a buyer. The property has been appraised at value. Your title came back clean. You have your repairs negotiated. They've decided to fix everything that you have requested, ideally, and you're moved on. So now what do? Title is going to take care of all of the ownership migration. You are going to basically just wait until close. You will go into the title office and sign all of the documents. This will be a document stack, somewhere between this thick and probably this thick. It's a lot of signatures, and basically what you're going to be doing is going over all of the paperwork that we've gone throughout the entire process, ensuring that everything looks correct. The title company will go over what you owe, what the seller will be netting from this sale, etc., etc., and you'll sign at the dotted line. And keep in mind, the last item here before you close is you're going to have to pay closing costs. Closing costs are generally somewhere between 2 and 5% of the total loan. And basically what you're paying for here is you're paying the title company and the lender to do all the things that they've been doing for you, to pull those surveys, to run the title checks, to do the underwriting on the loan, to insure the loan. You're going to pay for all of these items throughout the process. And so generally it's between 2 and 5%. So if you're putting $10,000 down and you've got $1,000 already out for your earnest money, you're planning on bringing in $9,000 more. they could ask you for $13,000 and you say, where did this other $4,000 come from? It's closing costs. You got to pay those. So something to keep in mind, and know that you're going to have to bring with you to that final title meeting. So that is the entire list here. You have found your agent, you've gotten pre-qualified, you've looked at homes, you've found the home, you've made your offer, it's been accepted, you've gotten your appraisal, your inspection, your repairs, your title migration, it's all completed, you've paid the rest of your down payment, you've paid your closing costs. You will close on the loan within a few days after signing those papers, and you will move into your new home. So those are all the steps. It's not as daunting as it may seem when you are really unfamiliar with the territory. The first half is really just getting pre-approved, looking at homes, looking at pictures, taking tours with your agent, interviewing agents. And then the second half is letting title and escrow and the lender kind of do what they do and being on standby in case anything arises. I hope you have learned something from this. I hope some questions have been answered. I'm going to do a lot more videos describing what these terms mean, going more in depth into vocabulary and what you need in order to get some of these loans and what the qualifications are. So stay tuned. And remember, it's your favorite Phoenix realtor, Andrew Starkman, with Living in Phoenix. See you guys soon.